All right, guys, we're back. So now the other thing that I wanted to touch on is the fact that we are human resources. All right. Remember, every company that you've worked for or that we know of has a what? A human resources department. What is a human resources? What is that department? Do you know? Human resources. What is that department about? What do you find in the human resources department? Tell me. 1, 2, 3. No? You know? Guess what? You find information in the human resources department. A plethora of information that you need to know about that respective company and about your rights, because the employee handbook is also in that, they have access to that. It's all in the human resources department, right? So human resources is basically resources for human beings. And resources is what? Information. So as an entrepreneur, you have to know that you are a human resource, right? Because you are a problem solver. Whatever it is that your business is about, your business solves a particular problem. You are a resource for that particular problem. Right? So your customers come to you to solve that problem. You are a resource for that. They'll also come to you for other problems. You may be a resource for those other problems. It may not be a part of your business, but you may be a resource for that. If you are, you can get paid for that. And if not, guess what? You know somebody else who does. So you now can refer that same person to someone else who's a resource for that particular problem. So I say all of that to say, let's think big of ourselves. Let's take note of the parts and the roles that we are playing in this here, what we call life. We are doing some great things in this world. Don't get caught up by the words that are being used by corporate and corporations and thinks that it only pertains to them. And you have to have an office and you have to have a department. Just pay attention to the words. And go look them up, strip the words down, and see if you're not a human resource. And you don't have to work with that company and go into a human resources department and learn how to have the human resource etiquette in order to be a human resource. That's just for that company. That's what a company requires. That comes down from the CEO or the owner of that company. That's what they require, correct? But now as your own boss, you have your own requirements. Correct? And you are a CEO, you are an entrepreneur, you are a human resource. You get paid for what it is that you are worth by breaking down everything you do, how you do it, why you do it, how is it an asset, how does it benefit the people of this world. That's it. It's easier than you think. It's not that difficult. And it's certainly not that complex as people try to make it. Remember, entrepreneurs are always on top of their money, and they are always on top of their skill sets. Why they do it, how they apply it, how does it benefit their customers, and how does it benefit the people in this world. Remember that, okay? I hope this recording helped you out today. And hope you guys enjoy the rest of this week. If I don't have anything up for you by the end of this week, I'll definitely have something up for you next week, okay? Until then, peace. Peace, people. It's me, Arlene J. Ramsey, CEO and founder of Everyone Let's Talk. Also, your favorite self-wealth mentor. Yes, entrepreneurs. I decided to record this today because I wanted to let you know that everything you do, you can get paid for. Break down everything you do. So let me give you an example, and I'm not just talking about in your entrepreneur life. I'm also talking about from your old jobs. Okay, so let's say, for example, if you were in customer service, customer service is just 2 words, correct? But what exactly do you do in customer service? When you break down everything that you do, that is a skill that you have that you can get paid for individually, which you can take with you and carry over into your entrepreneur life, right? Then you also have to take into account, it's not just what you do, right? It's how you do it. So I have a question. Let's say if you had a customer service job, did you have a sense of urgency? Do you know what sense of urgency means? That means that if something came about and it was in a hurry and your boss said, I need to get this done, and let's say you have 50 things on your desk to do, did you harp on what your boss or your supervisor told you that has to be done, or did you just say, you know what, okay, good, I got 50 things here, I'll get to that when I'm done with the 50 things? Well, how did you handle your desk? All right, that is also a skill. All right, sense of urgency is something that the world will pay big money for, because life is unpredictable. There are always going to be things that just pop up that has to be done, and sometimes it didn't pop up. Sometimes your boss or your supervisor may have dropped the ball, and they probably were supposed to give you an assignment 5 days ago, but they forgot. And all of a sudden, here is crunch time, because you know what? The customer reminded them, oh, we got this meeting coming up. Is such and such done? And here comes your boss. Your boss may not have told you that, but they're going to come to you and say, listen, I got this and X, Y, and Z, and I need to get this done. What will you do? All right? That's called sense of urgency. If you have a sense of urgency, if you are the one that says, you know what, let me get this out of the way for my boss real quick and then get back to the 50 things, you can jot that down, that you have a sense of urgency. That also means that you know how to prioritize, because when you prioritize, it's not the fact that you have 50 things that has to be done and you're just doing 50 things. You situate them in order as far as what you think should be done first. So what's time sensitive? What's something that can take, that can be done last, right? So when you know how to prioritize, you know how to take care of the things that may be a pain in the butt to you first. Get them out of the way. So when time comes, oh yeah, that's done, that's taken care of. And then you do the things that no one is really looking out for. You get those done last. If you are good with prioritizing, you make sure you jot that down. I know how to prioritize. Also, if you're a critical thinker, in customer service, there's a plethora of things that you do besides the daily routine that is on your resume, that is on your job description, or what your boss told you they need you to do. They tell you, this is what I need to be done, X, Y, and Z. But then now how you do it and how you apply your systems is your respective skill set. And that is something that you should be paid for. So now why I bring up critical thinking, if you're good with breaking things down, now let me give you an example. When you're answering phones, are you just on the phone with your customer having a good time and you're just letting time go by, 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by, you're having a good time and your work is piling up? Are you that type of person? Or are you the person that thinks critically? Like, okay, you know what? I need to get all the important things out of my customer within a good 2 minutes, because I never know what's going to happen, and I don't want to be on the phone with this customer if another problem arises and then I haven't gotten all the information out of this customer, right? That is a critical thinker, right? Because what does that save you? When you think like that, it saves you what? It saves you time. So let me give you an example as to how and why it saves you time. Let's say you're on the phone with this customer and you haven't gotten everything out of the way, and something comes up that needs to be done now, and because you have a sense of urgency, it's like, you know what, customer, let's say, you know what, Hershey, let me take your information down and I'll call you back. call them back and you get rid of that because you have a sense of urgency. You got that out of the way. But guess what? You still have to call Hershey back because you haven't gotten all the information that you needed from Hershey in order to support him or provide the best service to him or her. So now when you're done with that, you got to pick back up that phone and you got to call this customer again, which is wasting time. Right? So now if you're a critical thinker, you would have thought about that. Now, don't get me wrong. You may not think about that right away because that happened to me when I was in the international business. In the beginning, that was me because you just don't know. And I've learned my lesson when things came about that needed me to apply my sense of urgency. And when I got that out of the way, and it's like, what? More shipments are coming in, but then I remember I still have to call this customer back because I need information in order to provide service to them. I've learned. I said, I can't do that. As much as they love to talk to me and as much as we have a good time and a good relationship, I cannot be on the phone with a customer like that without getting the information from them. Even this is what I did. I've learned to have a good time with them, but as soon as they called me with new shipment information, I got everything out of the way right then and there. And sometimes they didn't call to give me the information right then and there. It's like, oh, how are you, Arlene? So how was your weekend? And how was this? And how was that? And I found a way to break that and come back to it. Oh, everything was well. So yeah, you called me today. What's going on? What you need done? Pieces, weight, commodity, meaning answer those questions so I can get that out of the way. And when I got that out of the way, I gave them some time. So now if something else comes up, I can say, okay, you know what? I'll call you back, or we'll resume another time when I call back to give you the information on the booking or on your shipment. Right? So when someone else calls with a problem, I was able to handle that and not really have to call this customer back until it was time for me to provide them with the information that they called for in the first place. So I was able to save time. I was able to say, okay, I'm not talking to a customer more than 3 times, which is something that I don't have to do. All right. All of those things are things that you learn during the interim of working in your respective jobs. And whatever it is that you are doing, it's what you're doing, how you do it, and how you apply it. You break it down and you realize that you have a plethora of skill sets. And you do them great. And those are things that you can get paid for individually. Now I'm saying this for entrepreneurs because of course, as a person working for a job, they say that you are customer service. But no, don't get it twisted. If you're in customer service, right, the same rules apply, but they apply for when you go for that, how do you call that annual review, when they review your work and review how you are as an employee, and they determine whether you deserve a raise or not. You can negotiate why you deserve the utmost of raises, because you would have broken down your skill sets and say what you do, how you do it, and how you apply it, and how it benefits the company, how you are take care of the company's profit and their margin, how you manage time. That is another one. That makes you a good manager of time, which means you don't waste time on things. Because now if you've done it the previous way, as I said before, that meant that you wasted time because you haven't gotten everything that you needed, and then you have to take that phone and call that customer again when you could have been on to the next one. So when you work in that way, think about all the angles and things that you have done diffused that makes you one of the great employees or great people that's walking on the face of this earth. So as an entrepreneur, you have to know that you have a plethora of